Welcome to SimplyRN. This video is for educational purposes only and not indicated for clinical use. Today's topic is epidural anesthesia. Epidural anesthesia involves insertion of a needle into the epidural space and infusion of local anesthesia to provide pain relief. Local anesthetics bind to sodium channels and prevent influx of sodium ions into the nerve cells, which prevents generation of action potentials and conduction of nerve impulses. Therefore, the pain message cannot be transmitted along the spinal nerves. Epidural can provide pain relief for labor and delivery, postoperative pain management, genitourinary or lower extremity surgeries. It may provide full anesthetic effects for open thoracic or abdominal procedures, such as cesarean section, depending on the medications and dosage used. The epidural space lies between the dura mater and the spinal canal. An epidural is placed at an appropriate level that corresponds to the dermatome level of the intended surgical procedure. A dermatome is an area of skin that gets its sensation from a given spinal nerve. For example, a patient who had an upper abdominal surgery may have an epidural inserted at L2 versus a labor and delivery patient may have an epidural inserted at L3. The closer the epidural catheter tip is placed to the spinal nerves that correspond to the site of pain, the lower the required dose to produce pain relief. Medications used to provide epidural analgesia are either local anesthetics, opioids, or a combination of both, which is the most commonly used. Examples of local anesthetics include lidocaine, mepivacaine, bupivacaine, and ropivacaine, and examples of opioids include fentanyl, hydromorphone, and morphine. All epidural infusion must be preservative-free to avoid toxicity to the central nervous system. Epidural can be given as a single dose, intermittent doses, a continuous infusion, or patient-controlled epidural anesthesia via a catheter and a pump. Epidural tubing and pump should be labeled for epidural use only to avoid incidental infusion of IV solutions. Frequent patient monitoring is required with epidural infusion. Hypotension is a big concern with anesthetic infusion because it may cause an increased block of the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight response, and that can lead to bradycardia and hypotension due to vasodilation. Providers should be notified to adjust dose or rate, and IV fluid may be given to support blood pressure. Besides the sympathetic block, if the block is moving upward and causes weakness of the respiratory muscles, respiratory depression can result. Change in level of consciousness is usually the first sign of respiratory depression because the patient is unable to move the carbon dioxide out of the lungs due to muscle weakness. Monitor for adequate pain control by performing a sensory check with the ICE test. Epidural alters perception of both pain and sensation. The dermatome that is blocked is less sensitive to changes in temperature, so an ICE test applying ice to the skin along the sensory dermatome is used to assess the level of epidural block. Patients may have the numb feeling from the epidural that is similar to the left behind after local anesthetics used in dental treatment. That altered sensation should be present just above and just below the site of pain. The ICE test is done by placing some ice in a glove or an ice pack on the patient's face so that they know what it normally feels like on the skin. Then place the ice on an area close to the site of incision and ask if it feels as cold as when placed on the face, and continue this above and below the site of pain and also to the left and right to check if the block is unilateral or bilateral. Notify the provider if the block level is too high or if the altered sensation is disappearing in the intended site, which may indicate inadequate block. Monitor any new or unusual weakness in the lower extremities, which indicates the block is too dense. The Bromage scale is a commonly used tool to assess motor block. Any sudden loss or changes in motor should be reported to the provider. Monitor insertion site for any signs of infection, leakage, or dislodgement of the catheter. Signs and symptoms of site infection include increasing redness, warmth, drainage, tenderness, or fever. Pain at the epidural site or diffuse back pain should be reported immediately as it may be a sign of an epidural hematoma. Epidural hematoma is a rare but serious complication due to bleeding into the epidural space that causes pressure on the spinal cord from the accumulating blood. It is a medical emergency and should be intervened immediately to prevent irreversible spinal cord injury. Other side effects of epidural include itchiness, which is related to the opioids used in the epidural. Antihistamines such as Benadryl can be given for symptomatic relief. Nausea and vomiting can be treated with antiemetics. Indwelling Foley catheter may be inserted for urinary retention. I hope this video helps you understand more about epidurals. I will see you next time.